Back to the line. In late June, APD officers following two suspects made an arrest at a legal state-owned syringe exchange van. That van was managed by the nonprofit organization Albuquerque Healthcare for the Homeless. New Mexico In-Depth reporter Jeff Proctor broke the story last month and pointed out some contradictions we're going to get into in what the police report stated and what van staffers reported to their superiors. Now this week, Mr. Proctor updated his coverage of the incident and posted video clips of some of the footage provided by APD after a public records request. Dan Foley. Video. Once again in Albuquerque. Video, very interesting.
The eye in the sky tells no lie.
That's right. You can read this of this story, but when you see that video, it's a vastly different situation.
I mean, look.
What did you just say it was?
It's insane. It's
Wow.
crazy. I mean, these officers follow these people around. They stop multiple times. They wait till they go to a needle exchange program to arrest them.
Right.
It's just, I mean, APD can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, and they can't stop hurting themselves. I mean, I got nothing else to say about it.
It's the narcotics unit specifically, Sophie, and the head coverings, the sheer amount of people, the amount of innocent citizens who were in proximity of weapons was unbelievable to me.
That's right. And it sends, I think, a really dangerous message about these needle exchanges, which we know are extraordinarily successful in helping to combat HIV and hepatitis. So successful, in fact, that I believe it's Governor Pence instituted a needle exchange in his own state, despite his own very vice presidential nominee, despite his own very strong objections. He realized this is necessary in order to fight HIV in our communities.
Public health issue.
And to have, to have the narcotics team not know about needle exchange seems very unlikely to me.
Yeah, there you go. Andy, interesting. Let's get into those contradictions that we were talking about. Detectives said in their report that they did not know it was a needle exchange van, as Sophie just mentioned, and that the staffers, they had no contact with staffers, where clearly the video says something else wildly altogether. What's the public to make of that when their police are not exactly accurately reporting to their superiors how these things go down?
I mean, I think it's been covered that it doesn't make them look good at all. I mean, clearly the video shows them pulling the lady over before they even enter the van. I think they talked to one of the employees. It causes problems where if word gets out on the street that don't go to these vans because you never know if someone's going to come in on a crime unrelated to needle exchange and come in with assault rifles, and that I think that causes a problem.
That's right. There were felony warrants out. There was no doubt. It's not as if these folks were just jaywalking, and people get that. But again, as we were talking just before we started to tape this, if you're following these people around town, there's plenty of other ways to pull two people over where there's nobody else around. You don't have to worry about anybody else getting hurt. Something seems odd there. What did you make of it when you saw that initially?
Well, I guess my biggest frustration, echoing other panelists, is snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, APD again. And this could have been, it's the story's not lining up that frustrates me so much, because when you are responding in a crisis to public taxpayers and citizens, and you are a first responder, you owe it to your organization and to the people you're speaking with to say, this was a planned operation. We wanted to collect these two individuals on felony warrants. We're looking into why this happened the way it did, and we'll get back to you. And then shut up until you know what the actual story is. And so I think that's a real problem, is taking the initial response, we're right. You could simply say, point out why you did this, and then shut up until you can come back and have the rest of the story. And that's how this has come back.
This highlights the problem with APD. APD's biggest problem in the community is credibility. That's the problem. It's not that they're not doing their job. It's not that they're overdoing their job or underdoing their job. It's credibility. It's every time they get questioned, there seems to be some fly in the ointment. This just adds to it, right? We're going to quickly run out, like Mayor said, nope, we didn't do this. We didn't have this interaction. We didn't do this. Well, it turns out that they followed them for multiple times. They stopped multiple times. They did talk to the people, which makes everybody say, not only does it call into a question APD, but now if I'm somebody that had a run-in with one of these officers at any point in my time, I'd be calling my attorney to say, okay, I told you he lied on the report he did about me, and look what just happened. I just think at the end of the day, it's a lack of leadership from anybody in Albuquerque standing up and saying enough is enough. And I think it's going to be the black eye for Mayor Barry. I think it's going to be the problem.
Let me go back to the original Jeff Proctor story about a month and a half ago, and the kerfuffle we had at this table as well, on the idea that we're spending these kind of resources for these types of low-level crimes. And the other side of it is, well, this is where bigger crimes germinate from. If you don't stop it at this level, you got bigger problems later. So we have this tension in philosophy about how to combat crime.
A statement, sort of a change in philosophy on the part of APD, that they were going to, and for us as a state, we're going to focus less on low-level crimes, focus more on the big stuff. And that doesn't seem to be happening. It doesn't seem to be happening. And it does raise questions about use of resources, why things are happening the way they're happening. Another thing I'm going to point out is when the DOJ came in and took a look at APD, one of the things that happened was one of the APD units was disbanded. And here we see in this video one of the individuals from that disbanded unit that was identified as being a unit with real problems. And here we see this guy on the scene again. So I think we have not just a concern about what are the priorities of this department, but also who is implementing those priorities.
And the accountability mechanism.
And is there, exactly.
Are we just moving a bad actor to another place and saying, oh,
That's
I'm
right.
surprised he showed up there?
That's right. Another triumph for lapel cameras. I'm going to put myself out there and just say it. This is why we wanted these things to happen, because now we can parse this kind of stuff out with some facts of the matter, so it works out. Thank you all. Good stuff on a Friday night. I'm Gene Grant. Thanks for joining us this week for New Mexico in Focus. And as always, we appreciate your time and effort to stay informed and engaged. We'll see you next week in Focus.
Funding for New Mexico in Focus provided by the McCune Charitable Foundation and the Nalita E. Walker Fund for KNME-TV, the KNME-TV Endowment Fund, and viewers like you.